Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are doing something totally different, and that is a social media audit. So I posted on my Instagram story. You feel like maybe your art Instagram is just not getting the buyers or clients and visibility that you want. If you want me to take a little look and give my feedback, let me know. So that's exactly what we're doing today. I think this is so important to talk about because it's something I struggled with for a long time. And that is having work that is good, professional, but it's just not getting the results that you want. And people getting really frustrated and then internalizing that and feeling like, well, I'm not getting hired or I'm not making print sales because I'm not good enough. My work isn't good enough. And that is simply not true. And I learned this the hard way because once you start positioning yourself on social media in a way that you're speaking directly to your dream clients and people that will buy your art and your prints and commissions, you start seeing a complete 180 change. So I am so excited to get into these 3 social media audits. Thank you so much to my volunteers. Let's get into it. Our first volunteer is artofzahrasarfraz. First of all, I'm looking at Zara's Instagram right now. Her work is stunning. And right off the bat, she has 114 posts, which is great. Gives us a lot of content to look through, and she's pretty consistent on posting, which is amazing. I'm immediately obsessed with it. I'm looking at the different pieces of art she has posted, and it is just this beautiful, mystical, very professional level of work. There is such a clear, defined, consistent voice that she has in her digital paintings. I'm seeing this consistency of these like beautiful, deep jewel tones, purples and blues, this South Asian influence. I'm seeing lots of just like this mystical tigers, cosmic stars, lots of beautiful architecture. She has an Etsy shop coming soon. So I also really like to take a peek into an artist's website because it gives me an idea of their goals. Once I have a better idea of their goals, I can better assess their social media and come up with a strategy that aligns with those goals. So let's take a little peek into Zara's website. Okay, so we have the Etsy shop coming soon. Let's go to her about. Zara, freelance illustrator based in London, Pakistani origin. Love to draw, whimsical, playful, decorative illustrations. Yes, 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 we're seeing all of that in your work. Here we go. My goal is to set up my own small business where I would sell my designs on products such as art, prints, stickers, bookmarks, mugs, and more, as well as work for companies such as Disney, Penguin Books, 3D Total, and more. And as of now, I am currently working towards making those dreams come true. So perfect. That is all the information I need to assess the situation. And let's hone your social media to get you feeling confident in attracting these 2 audiences to help you make your career goals. So let's go back to Instagram here. So after going through Zara's website, we see that she has 2 very different goals. So we want to change the social media strategy to attract both of those different audiences. We're going to think about goal number 1 first, which is selling prints and stickers and other products on Etsy. For someone to want to buy from Zara, she needs to be positioning her content to be speaking directly to her dream buyer. Who is that person? What do they look like? How old are they? What are their interests? All of those things, and speak directly to them through her content. We want that audience to fall in love with Zara's work and her progress, the way she thinks, because when we start doing that and we're not just posting finished illustrations, which shows our skill, but it really then just looks like a portfolio. It's not connecting with the audience, getting them emotionally invested in your art. And that's exactly what we want to do when we are going to sell prints and stickers of our work. What I'm seeing right now that is working really well for artists who are making their full living on selling prints and stickers on Etsy, that is creating content that is taking their audience on the start to finish journey of creating the artwork and also the product and shipping, all of the little behind the scenes things that you probably wouldn't typically show. That's what people love to see. I know for myself personally, I have bought from artists where I'm seeing them pack their orders and they're putting love and care into it. They put a secret sticker in the order, and other artists who are in between two different print companies for stickers and getting their audience to vote on which one looks better or which one they're interested in. And doing that type of content is insanely smart because you are getting the audience emotionally invested and excited to buy. Because if an audience, even if they love your art, they just see the finished illustration, there's not that emotional connection, and it's going to be a lot harder to convince them to buy immediately when you don't have that build up. And also looking that Zara is starting her Etsy account, that is a great opportunity to be like showing your face saying, hey, I'm Zara, I'm starting my Etsy shop. I've never done this before. Come with me on this journey as I figure this out. There's a really great opportunity here as well, as I'm thinking about all of these things of connecting with your audience. She's starting her Etsy shop. She hasn't done it yet. And this would be a really fun place to create a series of things that you're already going to have to do. You might as well film them and show them. Is a series on starting your Etsy, setting up your shop, ordering your prints, creating the stickers if you're using your Cricut machine, and showing us how to do those things. Even if it's slightly tutorial based, it's showing us, one, it can teach people how to do it, but also it's getting us involved in seeing the love and care that is put into a small business. There is this resurgence of being a little bit more messy on the internet, where before there was a lot of like very curated, only showing finished illustrations, very edited photos on Instagram, and people are so sick of that. So showing the learning of it all and doing that publicly is vulnerable, but people want to see the messy, relatable content that you're creating as you are building something from scratch. That is so exciting to see as a viewer. So that is our first goal with Etsy, really attracting that dream buyer, getting specific with who that dream buyer is and talking directly to them, creating content for them, bringing them on this journey. Goal number 2 is your commercial clients. So she wants to work with Disney, Penguin Books, 3D Total, and we're gonna have to create a slightly different social content strategy for this. And it's gonna look different than our first goal. And I'm someone who also has multiple audiences I'm speaking to through my social media and my Instagram, because I have my courses that I sell, I do content creation, I am a freelance illustrator for toy companies, so I'm doing a bunch of different things as well. Every time I post something, I am thinking this post has to speak to one of my audiences. It can't just be a random post that I'm just like not even thinking about. Who am I speaking to when I'm posting this specific post or reel? And it should always be very intentional, because then we're attracting the right people. We're not just being broad and vague, because that's not really going to get us buyers and clients. So don't be afraid to niche down. For the commercial side, this is where things appear more like a portfolio. So having these finished pieces is really important. But something else that would also be really helpful to get these potential clients, your dream clients, get their eyes on you, is to create mock projects specifically for them. What would creating a book cover for a existing Disney movie look like in your style? When you're creating this artwork, again, you can do this similar content strategy I was talking about, where you're bringing your audience on this journey, because I have seen so many artists successfully, and I talked about this in my last video, successfully getting their dream clients, hiring them because they're creating mock projects in their own style. That literally shows that company that you are capable, that you're professional, that you bring something unique to the table. And I think with Zara's style, she absolutely has a unique style that would fit perfectly in there. So I would love to see some mock projects for Disney, for Penguin Books, and also show the end product. Like if you're doing a book cover, create a mock-up of your digital illustration on a book so we can actually see it. It feels more tangible and real in the context of the actual product it would be on. That would be the content strategy I would go with those two goals in mind here. I also want to get into an area that I've seen a lot of artists overlook, myself included, until I realized how important it was, is your bio. So we're gonna look at Zara's bio right now. Right now it says freelance illustrator, UK, illustrations to rejoice, inquiries, her email, Etsy shop soon, and then we have some links here. There's a couple issues with this bio and I'm going to explain it, but the main issue is it's vague. Illustrations to rejoice is a lovely phrase. However, it's not telling me what Zara does, what she illustrates, who she's trying to work for. It just is like, I almost put myself in Zara's dream client and I'm pretending I'm looking at her profile with that lens. I wouldn't know in the first 5 seconds whether or not this is someone that is hireable, and that's where the issue is. Zara has such a distinct style and voice here, and there is such like this cultural influence on her work that I would absolutely put that somewhere in the bio. All of these mystical jewel tones, the tigers, it is so specific. And I think a lot of times artists get nervous being specific in their bios because they think they're going to miss out on opportunities. That is just not true. Being too vague is the number one way to not get hired. So do not be afraid to be specific. And also, you are trying to attract your target audience, the clients and the buyers. So putting the influence of your artwork on here is not going to niche you down because it's explaining exactly what we are looking at. Let's talk about the profile picture and the overall branding of the Instagram bio and highlights. So right now, there is a disconnect happening for me. When I'm looking at Zara's work, I'm seeing all of those like deep colors I've been talking about. And then when I'm seeing the branding, it is these light pastel pink colors that I'm not really seeing throughout her work. The overall colors and vibe that I'm getting from her style and brand is these like deep blues and purples. And when we have that disconnect of your branding and then your artwork and style, it starts to muddy the waters a little bit. And I know this because I did this in the very beginning. I actually had this logo that was so serious looking because I thought it made me look really like professional, but it was just a mess. And I had all these like very like dark, almost moody colors. And if you've seen my artwork, you see it's a bunch of bubblegum pink. It is crazy saturated colors. And there's nothing rigid about my art, where my logo was very, very rigid. So there was a disconnect happening of like, what is happening here? And when there's a disconnect that is happening between the branding and the art, people walk away. We want our branding to be a complete reflection of the art that we're creating. And I think the logo is really great, the decorative, ornate features. So I'd recommend redesigning the logo to simplify while also keeping that beautiful, ornate style. But since it's being shrunk down, the lines are so delicate, we're losing a lot of that detail. And I would also change the colors to really reflect the overall art style and themes that we're seeing through the work. I did a little mock-up of Zara's bio. This is the before, where we have the logo that is not really reflective of the art that we're seeing on her page. It might have been a reflection of the art that she used to make, but however, the most recent posts going back is much different than what we're seeing in the logo. And then also making that bio much more specific as a call out to our dream clients and our dream buyers. So this is what I came up with here as just a starting point for Zara to make it her own. And also, don't be afraid of getting specific. Zara, your work is genuinely stunning. And right now your account just isn't fully dressed up to speak to both your audiences of your clients and your dream buyers. So making these small changes of your content strategy and your bio to be very clear and calling out to them of this is who I am, this is what I do. So they know in the first 5 seconds of looking at your profile, they're like, yes, we want her. You have everything you need. There is nothing that I would change about your art. It is really just changing the positioning so we maximize the full potential to get those dream clients and buyers. All right, let's get into volunteer number 2, which is Cinnamon Brush Art, Haley. And let's get into it, okay? This is a really fun one because I think there's some amazing things happening here that I'm very excited to see what she does next. So with Haley's page, there's something genuinely special happening here that I'm very excited about. And that is this handwritten notebook style, warm way of communicating these like tutorials. And it just feels like you're looking at a friend's page who is really good at art and is sharing tips, which I love that because it feels immediately like I trust this person. And that is a real powerful differentiator on social media because people are so fed up with very, very curated, perfectly everything, all the ducks in a row kind of posts. And this feels just genuine and authentic. And I love that. All right, so let's check out, before we get into Instagram, let's take a little peek-see at Haley's website here. Okay, so first off, Haley's website is openchaircollective.com, and I don't love that because I want there to be consistency with cinnamon brush art, or you could pick one or the other, but there should be a consistency. They should all be the same, because if people are going to Google cinnamon brush art and this website appears, it's going to be really confusing. So we want to keep things very, very simple and cohesive. Okay, so we have this very fun website here. Hi there, my name is Haley. Quit my job to pursue art. I've been given the opportunity to pour myself into my work. You'll find both digital, physical artwork available to purchase or simply to look at. I've worked hard to keep prices accessible because you shouldn't have to be rich to support art made by a real person. So that is a key thing we're gonna revisit. You can also follow along as Gibby and I navigate life and our artistic endeavors. I'm not entirely sure where we're going, but I'm excited to find out. So even the way that Haley is speaking in this bio feels so genuine and like, hey, I don't really know where we're going with this, but we're gonna figure it out together. And I really love that diary approach to Haley's business. I think she should absolutely continue doing that. So right now, Haley has a Etsy account where she is selling some seamless patterns that are digital, and pet portraits is the big one here. Seeing lots of like bugs and animals. I really love that. Okay, so I've gotten a pretty good idea of what Haley is doing. And she is still in that figuring it out stage of things, which is a really great place to be. Besides the pet portraits being amazing and beautiful and adorable, I think Haley has such a compelling story and it feels so relatable and raw and human. And I think that is her superpower. Someone who left their job to make art, wants to make art accessible to just normal people, and just figuring all of this out with her dog, Gibby. I love that angle of this. And I think that is the tone in which she should approach all of her posts, is taking us along on this journey, having that diary-like essence in every single one of her posts. Because right now we have these handwritten posts, which I do really like the style of. However, the actual content of these posts are very disconnected from what she's actually selling, which is pet portraits, seamless patterns. And right now there's a lot of educational content on how to draw hands and drawing people, which is not the products that she's posting. So there is just this like complete separation between those that isn't working. So I would take that educational style and apply it to creating these pet portraits and the choices, artistic choices that Haley's making when creating these pet portraits for people. The inspiration of these seamless patterns and the bugs and all those like fun animal lovers. And that's another thing too, is Haley really needs to be talking directly to her dream buyer, dream clients, and that would be animal lovers. Right now, Haley's bio is professional colorer, artist for hire, just a girl. And I do love this like kind of like casual simplicity of this bio. However, we still want it to be specific and signaling what we actually do, who we actually want to be landing on our page and staying and buying, which would be animal lovers. Even having just like a funny bio that is just authentic to Haley's way of communicating, like, let me draw your dog or something. And keeping it like fun, but also immediately letting us know what it is that she is providing, the services that she does, the prints that are available, and how we can use those seamless patterns. If we download those, like what would they be used for? Like I would love to see her actually applying these seamless patterns and showing us the process of making them and where they could go and what they would look like. And just walking us through this journey that Haley is on of figuring it all out and trying new things. I think that angle is really going to help create that bridge between the artwork and buyers. Another thing as well is I'm seeing a couple different like portraits and different subject matter from what the products are that are being sold, and it feels a little inconsistent. So we want to make sure either that we're selling prints of these portraits, like human portraits, or kind of get rid of them and really focus on the pets and the bugs and the creepy crawlies. And I feel like that's what I was seeing mostly on the website. So I would stick in that lane and kind of keep the portraits separate and out of it. And I really think that you can still do these educational type videos and be teaching through your commissions and while you're creating the choices that you're making. If you are like, hey, this is how you draw a dog. This is, you know, how I do put the values down as I'm doing this custom cat portrait. And walk us through in that teachable, relatable way with the handwritten notes, but also at the same time, it is promoting a service that you're doing that we can buy from. So for Haley's bio, this is the before, and this is the change I would make to really emphasize who it is that we are wanting to buy from us. So for Haley, you have a story worth telling, and I really do believe that that is going to be such a strong point for you to be open and vulnerable. And you already are coming across in these 20 posts as this like relatable friend that is just sharing experiences. And I just want you to continue that while also being able to promote your products in this cohesive way. Okay, and now for our third and final volunteer. This is Melania, who is miss.pink.coconut. And she has 60,000 followers. So Melania already has an established audience, and I'm going to do a little social audit of mainly how we can improve some of the social strategy while also upping sales. So as always, let's look at the website first. Okay, so we have a really nice link tree here with some nice cohesive branding. Really beautiful website, very clear on the products and services that she's selling. We have some calendars, we have prints, we have mugs. So we have stationery, mugs, apparel, art prints, and we also have custom portraits as well. So these are magical custom portraits, hand drawn with lots of love and magic. Okay, and then let's go to About Us. Celestial art to empower women. I always had the feeling that there was something missing in my life, and I found purpose in art. An old friend of mine. I love to grow and learn something new every day. I love to find beauty in little things and make people smile. This is a beautiful excerpt on who Melania is, letting us into her world and her history and how this all began and what it is that she wants to do through her art. And I absolutely love this. After looking at Melania's website, I feel like there is a very strong sense of purpose in the website of this is exactly what we sell, this is exactly what we do, this is who I am. And it is like bam, 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 very, very clear. When we get to Instagram, we have a lot of amazing things. Obviously, she has 60,000 followers, but I think there is some missing opportunities that I'm gonna go over. So Melania is selling a lot of different things. We have some art prints, calendars, portraits, and we have a lot of like finished illustrations here. We can see her working on some of her art, but she's not pointing out specifically in a lot of these posts that these are prints that she's selling. I think what would make this land harder is actually showing us where these products live. So she's selling a tarot deck, which is beautiful. And I would love to see a morning pull of these cards every single day, either on her story or a post, because not only is that showing us the products and seeing Melania in this like peaceful Zen morning doing this, it makes us aspire to have that peace in our life. And seeing her do that every day and her sharing things that she's going through and what that card would mean to her. And it would just build this like deeper connection between a buyer and Melania. You could also do videos of you pulling your card from your deck and then sitting at your computer and doing work, sipping from your mug that has your artwork on it, and just like immersing us in your world and your products and make us want to have that in our lives too. I think sometimes us artists, and this is something that I have dealt with and I continue to deal with and I'm trying to break it, is we don't want to feel too salesy about things. We don't want to be pushing our products on people because at the end of the day, like we're artists, we don't want to feel like we're like forcing our products down your throat. But that is not how it would come across, especially if you do it in a way that is genuine and vulnerable and authentic to you. So just showing us you with the mug and pulling these cards and reading from them, that is what you do. It's not like, hey, this mug's 50% off, like come get this. Like you don't have to be doing all that. I would also love, because reading her bio on her website was really beautiful, and one, it was really well written and emotional and vulnerable. The deep impact art has had on Melania's life, and it has urged her to like create these portraits to make other women feel empowered and beautiful, walking us through creating these portraits step by step. And also maybe even doing like a voiceover of explaining either a story that she's been through, or when people do purchase these portraits, they can add a little like excerpt about like who they are and what they've been through in their life. And that will impact the way that Melania creates these illustrations for what she feels like they need to see or need to hear, and creating these like beautiful little vignettes of these art pieces. And I think that would be so beautiful because these portraits are clearly created from an emotional place. So adding that like storytelling addition on top of that, I think would, one, be an amazing way to sell more portraits, but also be really, really entertaining and amazing to watch. For the bio, for the most part, I think the bio is pretty clear. I love the empowering women with magical illustrations. I think that is spot on with what she's doing. I will say the second line, open for freelance work, needs a little work just because it is vague. I would change that to saying that the custom portraits are now open, or shop prints and mugs, and just be more specific on the like services and products that you are offering. So overall, Melania, you have clearly built a really strong audience already. And I think it's really bringing that clarity that you have on your website, where we get this kind of story about you and your vulnerability and the passion that you have for this type of artwork and why you do what you do, and bringing that into your Instagram and the way that you advertise your products through storytelling, through sharing process, and just being open and light. And I think that is going to be that thread that just connects it all together. Okay, that's it. That's all 3 audits. Thank you so much to my volunteers. I hope that helped you. It was so much fun to go through all of your profiles and your amazing different voices and styles and different stages of where you are. And I'm so excited for each and every one of you to apply some of these things, see what happens. Please keep me posted. And the themes that I just kept coming back to on all of these profiles is your bio needing to be super, super clear on what it is that you do and who it is that you're trying to attract. 2, your visual identity needs to match your actual work and be a reflection of the work that you create, so we can have this connection between the 2. And it doesn't feel separate, because when there is separation between your branding and your work, there becomes like this immediate distrust and misunderstanding and confusion that can happen. And 3, social media isn't just a portfolio with these polished, finished pieces. It is really a place of opportunity, of showing your process and the artwork that you're creating and who you're creating it for, and really bringing in your potential dream clients, potential buyers into your world and saying yes to you, because they're just like, this is speaking to me. I get it. I get exactly what she's trying to do. She's talking directly to me and I need to hire her right now. Thank you so much again, Zara, Haley, and Melania, for volunteering for this social media audit. I would love to do more of these if you guys found this helpful. I always have a blast. I have learned over the years to just love social media because I wasn't good at it in the beginning, and I have learned so much through my own trials and errors. So if you want to see more content like this, please let me know and maybe you'll be next.